Good morning and welcome to this week's Wednesday with Warbus. I have some very exciting news to share with everyone. It's been a long time coming. We've been working on it for several years, 4 or 5 years. And it's about Rivers Elementary School, which is our elementary school that's located on Altus Air Force Base. It was built in 1959, so it's been there a long time. It houses pre-K through 4. We've been working on it, like I said, for several years, and we've been on this list. It's called the PSMI list, which is the Public School on Military Installations list, and they rate the school, not the school itself, but the building, because Rivers is an amazing school as far as we have great faculty and staff. The test scores are always good. They're a blue ribbon school. They have great support from their parental background. But the building itself does not meet the standards of the Air Force Base. So we've been on this list. And so we graded an F on capacity, and we graded an F on the structure itself, which is embarrassing and bad news, but it puts us high enough on this list that we can get special funding to either remodel it or to rebuild it. And so a team of us from here at the board, myself, Mrs. Holder, Chuck Martin, and Amanda Davis, went to Virginia and pled our case for why it would be better for Altus Public Schools and Altus Air Force Base to build a new building. And so we were granted that. So we're very excited about it. It's an 80-20 split where the federal government will pay 80% of the cost and the district has to come up with 20. We do have some support, and we're looking at some other areas where maybe we can get 10% paid from somewhere else, and I won't go into detail about that. But like I said, it's been a long time coming. I have a list of people that have really been instrumental in helping us get to this point and push us over the finish line. Senator Inhofe and Senator Langford have been very instrumental at the higher levels, helping us move up this list, and the funding has already been put into place. There's over $1 billion available for some schools to do this. Representative Lucas as well. We've met with them on several occasions in DC, as well as they've come here to Altus Air Force Base. Locally, Senator Howard and Representative Kendricks have been very instrumental in helping us through this process. Dr. Leverett has lots of connections on Altus Air Force Base and at the congressional level, and so he's been very helpful and instrumental. And then from out on base, Colonel Baker, Colonel Pavelchuk, Colonel Leard, Colonel Carney, Colonel Pedersen, Colonel Vanderberg, Chuck Bucci, and our base liaison, Judy Mott. Those have all been people throughout the years that have been helping us with this list and moving up the list. So nothing set in stone really that I'm saying, but I just kind of want to tell you where we're at. It's going to be a long process. There's a lot of red tape we have to do, a lot of hoops we have to jump through, but we're going to do it, and we're going to work hard and make it happen. The time frame looks like possibly here in about 6 weeks we have to give another presentation, and then at that time we can hire our architect and our construction managers. Hopefully we'll break ground maybe next summer, and it will probably take about 2 years to complete the process. But I will give you updates as things change because they easily can. The main thing is we would need to get our 20% of the funding, which hopefully turns out to be 10%. But very exciting news. So here we go. I want to talk to you about where we're at. So this is the current site of Rivers Elementary. This is North Veterans Boulevard, which now is actually on base behind the gate. And then this is Daisy Avenue, if you're familiar out there. This is north. This is the west side. And so most people come in from here. This is the small parking that they have. This is the building itself. And then they have pickup and drop off on each side. This is playground. These are some softball fields that are currently belong to Altus Air Force Base, but they are working on the paperwork to make that part of our lease. This is Altus Air Force Base owned land. We lease it for 30 to 50 years, And so the building itself belongs to Altus Public Schools, and then we lease the land. It's an ongoing lease, so as soon as the lease ends, it happens again. But we are changing it to include more land. The architects have come up with, and we're very excited about it, and this really pushed us over the top when we presented. The Air Force was very excited about it. The basic design of the building is going to mimic the Altus, or not the Altus, but the U.S. Air Force emblem. So we're very excited about that. It's very unique. We're hoping that it's going to be a state-of-the-art building that is going to be maybe the Taj Mahal for all the military installations. Very excited about it. Okay, here's another aerial view of what we're looking at. Again, this is north, this is west, this is the current Rivers Elementary School, and this is the projected site and what the school will look like. So this will be the front door, and it will kind of be facing northwest. So we are hopeful that we can build the new building, continue to have school, and then once it's done, then we'll tear down the old school for parking. But that's the plan right now. So here is the basic plan that we have again so far. This is facing north, which will actually be facing northwest like that. But this wing over here would be pre-K through 1. It's got 2 sets of restrooms, and it's got a commons area which will go out. They can congregate here and go out onto the playground. There'll be a playground located here that would be age appropriate for pre-K through first graders. Also, for pre-K and kindergarten, there will be a Jack and Jill restroom between every 2 rooms. So these 2 pre-K rooms would have a Jack and Jill restroom for, that one student or 2 students that need to use it periodically without having to get all the way out with an aide down the hall. So that we're hoping that will be helpful as well. This wing on this side will be 2nd grade through 4th, and not necessarily these number of grades classrooms, but generally we just put it in here. So this will be 2nd grade through 4th. Again, this wing has 2 sets of restrooms, a commons area, and there'll be a playground in the back here with the privacy fence, and it will be age appropriate for 2nd through 4th graders. Also in these 2 wings, there'll be special needs rooms on both wings, and also areas for students to go for different needs that they have. So places to cool off, whatever they need. When you walk in to the front of the building, currently Rivers does not have a double door safe space. There's just not a place there, but you'll have to be buzzed into a vestibule or an entry, and then you can be buzzed into the main office. This area right here will be offices, counselor's office, nurse's office, principal's office, secretaries, receptionists in that area. And then we're excited that the gym, it won't necessarily be a full-size court, but it will be much larger than what they have right now, but it'll be a gymnasium with a set of restrooms. And then right off of the gym is a STEAM lab, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. It will be right here, so it can be used by all the different grades. So gym, STEAM lab, and then on this side will be the kitchen area, which will actually be our cafetorium. We'll have a stage on one end that will be ADA. Rivers is not ADA currently, but the new building, of course, will all be ADA, which will meet those requirements. It'll have a large kitchen, all the details with the kitchen, a nice large dining room, so that just like all the elementaries, Rivers has a very small cafeteria where it's difficult to have an all-school assembly. They have to break it up into small sections because it has such great parental support and then the number of students. So it'll be larger. Another thing that I really like about it is the vocal music room. Currently at most of our elementaries is far away from everybody actually, but this vocal music room will be right off the back side of the stage. So when they do have performances or different things, they will be able to practice and actually have their performances right there at the stage, which will be right connected to the vocal music room. In addition, we have a very large media center. We're excited about that. Currently, at Rivers and most of our elementaries, it's difficult to have a class in there and continue to check out books because the libraries are so small. This library media center will have an area for a classroom to be having class in there, as well as continue to check out books for the other grades. It will have an outdoor space, covered space, so you can have class out there as long as the weather's nice, or just an area for the students to gather and read. Also, the whole backside will be glass. One thing about building this on base, we have to go by all the federal guidelines. So for example, all the glass in the building will have to be blast proof. There'll have to be barriers built around it, but there's lots of different criteria that we have to meet to build it out there. Another thing that's will be happening there, like we're trying to do at all of our sites, is there will be a safe room, which is a storm shelter. There'll be a storm shelter built in this wing for the students and faculty and staff in this wing. There'll be a storm shelter on this wing, and then the whole gymnasium will be a storm shelter. And the reason for that is if it's pickup or drop-off time, or if we're having an assembly, because most of our assemblies are in the afternoon, and that's when storms sometimes hit. If there's many people in the building, they can go into the gymnasium and they won't be intermingled with all the students, but that way there'd be space for whoever was visiting the building at the time. So the end product, hopefully, is going to look like this. So currently, like I showed you earlier, Rivers Elementary is located right here, but once the new building is built, we will tear down the old building and make parking. Right now, just like at all of our elementaries, pretty much there's very little parking, poor parking. So this will be nice. We haven't worked out with the staff out at Rivers on how they want the pickup drop-off lanes, but we will work with that. They've been instrumental in throughout the process. They've been helping us with deciding where closets will go, where the cubbies will go. We want to make it user-friendly for the faculty and staff. So as we go, we will tweak it. Again, it shows the two green spaces that will be used for playgrounds on each side. And then, of course, here's our green space in the back by the Library Media Center. There will be a back entrance here for our cook staff and for deliveries in the back. But we're very excited about it. We're also looking into some green energy along the backside of some of the roofing. We're looking at possibly doing some solar panels. Again, that's some criteria for being on base. Again, we're very excited. We're very thankful for all the people that have helped us through this process. It's been a long process and we've got a long ways to go, but it's very exciting for Altus Public Schools, Altus Air Force Base, and just our community in general to have a new facility, being able to get at least 80% of it paid for from the federal government. I think it'll be a good draw for Altus Air Force Base. It's good for Altus Public Schools. So again, we're very proud of it. It looks like if inflation will slow down, it's going to cost between $45 and $50 million to have it built, which is a lot of money. But again, 80% of it will be paid by the federal government. And thanks to the city of Altus being such good partners and the voters of Altus, we'll be able to use some of our MAPS 2 money. We have a building fund that we use, and we have impact aid. So there's some sources that we do have to pay our part. So hopefully that kind of gives you a basic taste of what Rivers is going to be. I'll try to give you updates as we go. Just very exciting. We've got a lot of things happening in Altus Public Schools. We're very blessed and very thankful. Hope you continue to have a great summer. And as always, may God continue to bless Altus Public Schools.